If you are tired of being where you are, mentally, emotionally, even financially, then this video is for you. You don't want to miss it. Dimitri here. Let's get right into it. A few days ago, I shared with you a story that took place in my life many years ago. I told you the story of how this woman walking by my family's place saw a plant in the house and decided to actually engage my father in a conversation because she wanted to have access to the plant. And by the end of the conversation, we, all the spectators I told you the story of how this woman walking by my family's place saw a plant in the house and decided to actually engage my father in a conversation because she wanted to have access to the plant. And by the end of the conversation, we, all the spectators in this particular interesting conversation, realized one key thing. We did not know what we did not know, and we did not know the practical value of what was actually right in front of us. That was a few years ago. That was many years ago. Today I'm going to give you a story that is more contemporary and that's going to help highlight something completely key when it comes to how to turn your life around. I took my car somewhere today for routine inspection, and I was supposed to leave it there for a couple of hours. And the gentleman looking after my car simply said to me, "Yeah, you can stay, of course stay. We're gonna give you anything you want. And what do you want? Tea, coffee? We can." I said, "No, it's okay. I'm going for a walk." And they were shocked because my intention was not just to stay put for a couple of hours just looking at magazine or drinking coffee or eating sandwiches. That was not my intention. My intention was to keep my body active. So I decided to go for a walk. And I go to this local park. As I go to the park, I was of course struck by the beauty of all the green things I was seeing around me. All the beautiful flowers, and I was saying to myself, my goodness, this must be like a taste of heaven. After walking around the park, at one point I decided to go sit on one of the benches and just to look at what was happening, because I saw a few people just going around with nets trying to catch some butterflies. They were going to tag and release back into the atmosphere so they could see exactly where they were going and how to help them do what they do best as far as nature is concerned. So I decided to sit down and I started watching people going back and forth, people going to do exercise and so on and so forth. At one point, after about an hour, I got up and I started walking away. And as I walked away, I came across this plant that was in a pot, just like a flower. And then I chuckled. I chuckled because this particular plant brought me back to Africa, to my dad's house many years ago. This particular plant used to be one of the many things that we had in the property that was basically just there for decor, to make the garden look so fantastic. And it was absolutely amazing. It was breathtaking because if you had a few of them aligned against the wall with a few other flowers, it would make the property look absolutely amazing. But as fate will have it, many years later, when I traveled to different parts of the world, more specifically to the West Indies, I was reintroduced to the same plant. Then I was taught that this plant was not just a plant that you can plant in your garden as some flowers. It's actually vegetable and it tastes absolutely amazing. So I was shocked. But in the very same country where I was reintroduced to this plant as food, as vegetable, I also happened to have come across this other particular plant that was there all over the place, and people were not using the leaves. They were only going after the roots that were used to make something, but the leaves were completely untouched, and they did not know what the leaves could be used for. And when I said to them that these leaves happened to be vegetable and absolutely succulent, delicious vegetable where I come from, they were shocked. And I realized one key thing. They were shocked that this plant used to be used as a flower in my garden. I was shocked because this plant was basically underutilized in this part of the world. And then I came to also have a moment of revelation. You don't know what you don't know. There are many things around us that we don't know anything about, simply because we go by what people tell us around us. You are born in a particular family, and in this family they tell you that yes, this is the kind of food that we eat in this particular house, and this is the kind of food that we eat in this particular culture. So as a way of indoctrination, you start simply eating like them and eating the very same type of food, and everything that's around you, you don't really get to a place where you start asking yourself questions as to what they could be used for. You never ask your question as to what they are, and you never ask question as to what they could be used for. And when you fail to ask yourself these two key questions, what happens is your worlds are shrinking even before life has begun. Not only that, number two, when you fail to ask questions, you will start living what I would call a soft life. Just hear me out first. This particular moment at the park made me realize one key thing. As a society in the Western world, we are also becoming extremely soft. Why? Because there are many plants out there that we don't know anything about, that simply grow and die and we don't know anything about. We may know the name of the plants, but we don't really take the time to study the plant to figure out what they could be used for. Let me just give you a perfect example. When I was growing up in Africa, there were people that could go in the bush with you, and they would not take any Band-Aid or any alcohol or anything in case anything happens while you're actually traveling in the bush. And you know why? Because they'll tell you the funny thing. They will tell you the following. They says, if anything happened to us while we're in the bush, nature is the perfect pharmacy. All the leaves that you see out there, they have a purpose. Within the bush, you're going to find everything that you need to actually attend to any wound or anything that can happen to you while you're in the bush. But in this day and age, this type of knowledge has definitely left us, has gone out the window, because we live in a process society where everything has been standardized. You don't need to know so much about all the leaves out there, because they will say to you, if anything happens, yes, use your cell phone to call 911. If anything happens, yes, use the Band-Aid to simply attend to the wound. If anything happens, use the alcohol to simply rub over your skin, and that's simply going to attend to your wound until the right expert are going to come. And in the meantime, the knowledge as far as nature is concerned is simply dwindling and dwindling and dwindling, and we are simply becoming softer and softer. And this is really key when it comes to how we can simply start turning your life around. And why it is particularly important, the knowledge about nature? Why? Because when you look at your life right now, when you look at what you eat on a daily basis right now, you're going to come to realize that we live in a processed world with all kind of different processed food. The food that you eat causes you to consume more than you need, number one. The food that you eat causes you to sleep less than you're supposed to. The food that you eat causes you to think less than you're supposed to. And ultimately, the food that you eat simply causes you to solve less and less problems. And by the time you wake up and you realize what is happening, basically, you have simply reduced your life expectancy by a few years, 5, 10, 20 years, but because you've been just spending your attention, focusing your attention on the wrong things, and focusing your attention more specifically on the things that were taking life away from you, as opposed to adding more life. So if you're looking for ways to simply turn your life around, and you are really serious about being sick and tired of being where you are, I'm simply going to ask you to do the following. For the next 5 years and for the next 12 months, I'm going to ask you to do the following. Every single month, give yourself an assignment. For the next 30 days, I'm going to study a particular plant I don't know anything about. I'm going to study the name of the plant, all the benefits of the plant, all the properties of the plant, and how it can apply to practical need as far as my life is concerned. Whether it is simply something I can use as far as my overall health is concerned, or when it comes to my own digestion or my own food is concerned. Do that the next 12 months and for the next 5 years, and before you know it, you'll have simply grown your pharmacy knowledge to about 60 different plants that can make a tremendous dent as far as your universe is concerned. Some may say, I'm skeptical. Let me tell you why you need to take this very seriously. Your attention to nature is going to slowly but surely give you something really key. Attention when it comes to what you put in front of you as food on a daily basis. Number one. Number two, the quality of food you're going to start putting in front of you is going to have 4 key benefits. Number one, it's going to cause you to eat better. Number two, it's going to cause you to think better. Number 3, it's going to cause you to sleep better. And last but not least, number 4, it's going to cause you to simply solve better issue and bigger issue than you are currently solving as far as your life is concerned. Again, the acronym is simply E.T.R.S. E.T.R.S. again. Eat better, think better, rest better, and start better. And when you actually reach that point, my friend, over 5 years without going to university, what will happen? You will simply increase or broaden your horizon as far as life is concerned, and also added a few more years to your life, because you will simply now start paying attention to what gives life as opposed to what can take life away from you. Because we live in a world where basically we become not only so thin, but we've also gone not just weakened, but we've also gone into a place where we don't really think long term, because the food that we are so used to eating simply causes us to feel good in a moment. But what causes us to feel good in a moment is unfortunately taking lives away from our life. It's taking years from our life as far as our health is concerned, as opposed to adding anything in terms of health on a daily basis. And this is something key that you and I have to start paying attention. So again, if you are sick and tired of being where you are, my friend, my only invitation is to simply do the following things. Over the next 5 years, simply give yourself an assignment on a yearly basis. Every 30 days, you simply say to yourself, I'm going to study a plant. I'm going to study everything about this particular plant, all the properties and all the benefits when it comes to my overall life, or when it comes to my food consumption on a monthly basis concerned. Number 1. Number 2, do that for 12 consecutive months, and try to make sure that for the next 5 years, so basically over the next 60 months, that's all you do. And by the time you're done, you're going to simply go back to a place where you're going to reactivate something key, which is simply beast mode, your ability to function in the wilderness. Number 1, your ability to simply recalibrate your mind and to simply live a life from a place of limitless option, as opposed to just eating, consuming, and doing everything according to society that is programming to only know one particular set of food, because they don't want you to know about everything else, because they want to limit the possibilities when it comes to how far you can go, and when it comes to how much you can solve, and when it comes to the size of the impact you can have in terms of purpose and in terms of your own self-knowledge. All right? Much love, everyone. The best is yet to come, but in order for the best to manifest it, you and I have to simply remain intentional. And if you watch this video until the very end, I'm simply going to kindly ask you to do one key thing. Type in the comment section E.T.R.S, and I will know that yes, you are paying attention. All right? Take care.